Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's me again, Renny Martin, Child Protection Specialist of Plan International Philippines, and I'll be your virtual host for today. Aside from Zoom, we will have a live broadcast on FB on Plan International Philippines official account. We will also be recording this webinar and will be available for sharing later. Welcome to our second episode of the Cyber Talino webinar series entitled Redefining Cool with TikTok and YouTube. About the title Redefining Cool, we define cool as being responsible and being safe online. Being cool is knowing how to privatize their accounts. Being cool is being polite to others online. Being cool is having empathy, critical thinking, and decision making. These are what define cool. For those who have not attended the first episode, let me just briefly introduce Plan International and the Cyber Safe Spaces Project. Plan International is a child-centered humanitarian and development organization and has been working in the Philippines since 1961. In 2017, Plan International launched the Cyber Safe Spaces Project and has implemented the project in 10 barangays in Manila and Quezon City. The project aims to effectively protect children and young people from online sexual exploitation and abuse and enjoy the benefits of the safe internet. Having more free time on internet means being exposed to more potential risk of online violence. You may see some data on the screen that we gathered from the We Are Social report. The question is, how do we know how to prevent this risk? Have we read what the standards or guidelines of the social media platform that we use? Do the children and young people know what the safety features or resources of the platforms that they are using? What were the digital behaviors before the quarantine? And what are the behaviors during the quarantine? Will this be the new normal, even if once again we are able to socialize with our friends, family in the physical world? Regardless, it is important to know what social media platforms offer in making sure that children and young people understand what being cool is. You may see on the screen again that there is an increase of more time using the smartphones and new habits, such as spending more time on social media. Going to the webinar, the goal of the webinar is to make sure that children and young people are duly protected and will thrive and reach their full potential after ECQ by, number one, working together to educate the public on various risks and ways to reduce harm while online. Number two, equipping parents and caregivers with knowledge and understanding of various safeguards available on online platforms. Number three, helping participants harness digital opportunities for knowledge and new skills. And lastly, promoting reporting through in-app mechanisms, helplines, and hotlines for suspected cases of sexual abuse and exploitation of children, and ensure that child protection services are life-saving measures. The webinar has a total of 90 minutes, where each of our speakers will be given 20 to 30 minutes for their talk. Let me introduce our second speaker. He is the head of the Government Affairs and Public Policy of Google Philippines. He works with government departments and civil society to fulfill the trust of Google Philippines to connect to Filipinos to boundless opportunities. Let us all welcome Attorney Yves Gonzalez.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Yves Gonzalez. I head Government Affairs and Public Policy for Google in the Philippines. And I hope my slides will load. Are my slides loaded? There. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so as you can see, I'm a father of two kids. Both of them are preschool age. The girl is nicknamed Mouse, while the boy is nicknamed Soy. And both of them, they love to swim. So whether it's on the beaches of Boracay or even just in their inflatable pool at home, they just love to swim all day. So in fact, actually, since they were born, this is the first year that we didn't get to go to Boracay this May due to the current quarantine rules. So they've been just swimming on their swimming pool every day. Now, the second favorite thing that they love to do is to be on their tablet using their favorite app, which is, of course, YouTube Kids. Next slide, please. So YouTube Kids is YouTube's standalone app designed specifically for children's aged 2 to 12. And the app also comes with a full suite of parental controls for parents like you and me, including being able to see a watch history, being able to block videos, setting a timer for limiting screen time for your kids. And you can also see YouTube Kids or find YouTube Kids on your smart TVs, on your phones, and on your tablets so that the whole family can watch and enjoy it together. Next slide, please. So YouTube Kids was made so that kids can have a more contained environment that's simpler, that's safer, and overall just more fun for them to explore on their own. So as mentioned, YouTube Kids is available on the web. So you can go to youtubekids.com on mobile phones, on tablets, and even on smart TVs. So you and your kids can find family-friendly videos on all kinds of topics on all your devices. Next slide, please. So the YouTube Kids app has a set of parental controls for you that you can customize to your kids' individual experience. So you can decide what content to make available for your kids to watch. You can set timers so that you can control their screen time. If you don't like a particular video, so if you feel like a channel or a video is not teaching the right message to your kids, you can block that video or that channel. And there's other resources outside of the app that will help you actually have an open discussion with your kids so that you can work with them when you make these decisions. So the best thing that we've seen is when you make these decisions, you really have to involve the child so that the child has buy-in and you do it together as a family. And so that's part of developing healthy digital habits. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so whether your child wants to learn something new or practice, previous slide, please. So, or practice something like a new dance craze or to do arts and craft, or just to catch up on games. So right now, a lot of their kids are watching Animal Crossing videos. So, or if your kid just wants to be entertained, YouTube Kids will be the best place for him or her to experience all of these. So the videos are curated and chosen, and so this safer environment for the child. So next slide, please. So as mentioned, YouTube Kids is available on all your devices at home, in the family room, in the kids' room, and on your mobile devices. Next slide, please. So I mentioned earlier that I have 2 kids, and what YouTube Kids allows me to do is to actually have a profile that's separate for each of them. So you can actually set up to 8 separate profiles. And each profile will be customized to the unique preferences of the child. So if you have a teen, or if you have a 3-year-old and you have a 5-year-old like me, then you could customize the profile for each of them. Next slide, please. So when you set up their profile, you can actually pick the right age-appropriate content for them. So for example, my younger Soy, he loves his preschool videos because he's only 3. And so these would be like basics like ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. While our eldest one, who's already 5, enjoys the younger videos. So these are the videos that actually tell a longer story. And so the videos that are presented to them are actually tailored to their own age and their own preferences. Next slide, please. Additionally, you can choose collections from our trusted partners. So when we say collections, these are pre-made collections of curated videos on specific topics. So for example, there's topics on learning, topics on music. And so all of these videos have been handpicked, and we know that they will be educational or they're of good quality for your kids. Next slide, please. So the one feature that I always disagree with my daughter is the setting screen time feature. So YouTube Kids will actually allow you to set some screen time, set some time limits, so that you can control the number of minutes that your child is actually watching videos on YouTube Kids. So as mentioned, the best way that you can really succeed in doing this is to have a good discussion or have a good conversation with the child, such that the decision to whether set a 60 or 30-minute screen time is a mutual one and not just something that the parent has imposed upon the child. Next slide, please. So as mentioned, if there are certain channels or videos that you don't like as a parent. So for example, me, I don't like that my kids are watching some videos wherein the characters are not very nice to each other, even though it's still a cartoon. So I can choose as a parent to block that video so that I know that my kids will not see those videos anymore. So once you block it, it'll automatically be removed from all of your kids' profiles. So if you block it for one child, it will be blocked for all of your kids, because we'll understand that as a parent, you made a decision to block a specific video, and so we'll respect that across all of the kids' profiles. Next slide, please. So just to end my presentation, these are some practice conversations that we recommend parents have with their kids. So it's good to really have these conversations with your kids on, for example, what are the topics that they want to learn when they're on YouTube Kids or when they're online, right? So for example, does your kid want to do arts or to dance? So my daughter loves to dance, so she loves dancing and singing videos. It's also good as a parent for you to monitor which are the creators that your child really likes. And it's good that you watch their videos, because as a parent, it's very important that you appreciate and understand the videos that your kids are also watching, so that you can understand, okay, is this a good role model? Is she learning good lessons from these videos? And then finally, again, as mentioned, the where, the when, and the how long your child can watch videos is very important, because this is something that we all as parents need to have a grasp on, especially like if the child always sees us as parents always on our own phones, in our own tablets, watching videos, then the child will think, oh, I can be on the tablet also all day, right? So it's very important that you have a conversation with your child on the screen time rules and regulations, and actually why. Explain to them why you need to set limits, and not just impose rules without explaining to the child. So that's it for my presentation. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Attorney Ibs. That was really a very useful information about YouTube. So again, to summarize po, no, in Tagalog, so napakaganda that YouTube has the platform YouTube Kids. And maraming makikita, no, may mga parental controls, merong mga individual profiles sa mga bata, mayroong mga maaaring gawin upang malimit yung screen time and also ma-block yung mga videos and channels for all the children. So napakaganda na ma-explore din siguro na ating mga audience, especially those who have younger kids. And tama po, we are now in the question and answer portion of this webinar. So we will be, again, as I mentioned, we can entertain a maximum of 6, but if we still have time, we will accommodate more. But then for questions that will not be immediately responded to, then we'll have to get back to you after the webinar. Okay, so let me go to the questions. This one is from Edna Fe Ramirez of Department of Education. And the question goes out to Donnie. So Donnie, it was a great presentation. And TikTok really is a fun place and an excellent video sharing platform. As a relatively new platform with very young audience, are there safety issues that you have encountered, and how does TikTok address them? Can you also comment on the invisible challenge? And this is another one is also connected, maybe just another way of rephrasing the question also. What's your policy regarding sensualized content produced by users below 18? Such an example is the invisible challenge. And when the question, the person, actually Kuya Israel Colorado Diloy of Stairway Foundation. So when he say sensualized, it doesn't include images depicting nudity, but rather images which might not depict nudity, but shows children acting out age-inappropriate challenges. So just to shorten the question, so what are the policy measures or safety measures that you have for this kind of challenges? And not only nudity, but also those children acting out age-inappropriate challenges.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. I think these are very important areas to discuss. So the first one on what are some of the safety issues. I think the majority of our issues that we have encountered revolve around content. So content that are not suitable for our users, including the ones that you mentioned, uh, vulgar content, sensualized content, and the way we mitigate this is by having our community guidelines. So again, a set of rules that says what's allowed and not allowed on TikTok. And this is also enforced by our machine. So for example, there are certain types of content that you could not actually upload on TikTok. If it's pornography, for instance, even before it's uploaded, it will be automatically rejected. And then the next layer is we also have human reviewers, people who are, you know, based in the different markets, including here in the Philippines, people who speak the local languages, know the local norms, based in the local time zone. They review the content and they can action them, whether to remove them or not. They can act on reports by our users. So that's how we mitigate this negative content. I think we're always I'm well, at least I'm always surprised at how people can use platform in really creative way for negative purposes. There are always some bad actors out there who try to use tech platform to for example to groom children or to approach minors. That's why we have these different safety features. Now, specifically on the dangerous or I would say vulgar challenges, we actually have no place for them on TikTok. I can categorically say that for these types of challenges, once we find out that there's such thing, we will remove them from our platform. So that's what I can share on those topics.
Okay, so Donnie, from what I get from your response, it's also the other users who have to report proactively in case, because you mentioned that TikTok may not be able to see those posts. Is that correct?
We do it both ways. We do it proactively and also reactively. And I think it's always good that users are also being very active in reporting cases. But in addition to that, we are also monitoring the content proactively ourselves.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Donnie. So this next question goes to Attorney Ibs. So it's from Febelin Belingon. So good afternoon. And she's asking if they can download those videos for kids who don't have internet at home. Is it possible?
So yes, YouTube does have a feature of offline videos. So you can actually, of course, you still need internet initially, but you can save some videos offline.
There are videos that can be played offline.
Yes, so that's a feature that YouTube has rolled out to enable people who don't have internet to download videos during the time they have internet, so that they can watch it later on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Attorney Ibs. The third question goes again to TikTok. So you mentioned earlier that there is an age restriction in joining the platform. So how do you ensure that age restriction of 13-year-old and below are circumvented by users?
Yeah. There are three ways in which we enforce the age gate. We call it an age gate. The first is by self-reporting by the user. So when you sign up to TikTok, you have to indicate your age. But of course, not everyone will tell the truth, right? Some people, will fake their birth year and they will get in. And how we deal with this is we actually look at certain signs from the content or the profile itself that we can actually determine whether someone is below the age of 13 or not. And this is obviously, as you can already tell, a very challenging task. How do you differentiate between someone who is 13 or 14 or 13 and a half? So we're continuously improving this capability of reading the signals from the content and the profile of these users. The third is also by user reports. So if you see someone using TikTok or a certain profile that is under 13 and you report to us, we will immediately remove it from our platform.
Okay, thank you, Donnie. I hope that the one who gave the question is satisfied with the answer. So we have another question for Attorney Eves. This goes out from Gerard Joseph Atienza. So how can a YouTuber upload content and have it included in YouTube Kids?
Yeah. So there are specific requirements that are going to be like there's a process for a creator to be certified for YouTube Kids. So we can share the URL on how a creator can sign up to this. And so again, it's very important for us to be very meticulous on which creators are allowed to be accessible on YouTube Kids, because it's a safer environment. So there's a process. We can share the URL so that the creator can sign up.
And a follow-up question, Attorney Eve. So where do they get the URL from? It's like
so
where do they send the request?
We can share it to everyone in a bit. So let me get the URL. I'll share it to the chat, and then so that we can share it to everyone.
Okay, and expect a lot of requests of creations on YouTube Kids. Anyway, thank you, Attorney Eve. So our next question, goes out again to Donnie. So what is your take on the proposition of the use of TikTok as a method of learning delivery by teachers?
Yeah, so I think this time of quarantine has really highlighted some of the use cases that are interesting, including in the area of education. We've seen that increasingly a lot of educators and also students are using TikTok to complement their learning, their formal learning. Actually, education content is among the top 5 of our top content in the Southeast Asia region. And this month, starting in May and June, we are actually focusing on educational content. We will be doing a lot more initiatives to encourage more and more educational content on TikTok. So when I say educational content, these are things like people teaching physics theory on a 15 second to 1 minute video, or someone teaching sign language on TikTok, or someone showcasing the nature around their house and pointing at the different plants and animals and explaining about them in biological terms. We have examples of these videos, and again, I'm continuously surprised at how ingenious our communities are in finding ways to use TikTok to inform other people. So yes, we are very glad with this development that increasingly people are using TikTok to supplement their learning, and we will be doing a lot more to support this.
Okay, thank you, Donnie. So let me just remind everyone. So Attorney Eves was able to already share the link on the Zoom group chat. And again, I think we have to remind other participants also that you have to type Q&A chat, not send all the questions to everyone. So this question goes out to YouTube. A mother, one of our teammates, Joey, she's asking, since YouTube Kids is literally for kids, are their videos consuming a large amount of data, especially for data users like with those who have limited connection. Yeah.
So there's two answers to that question. So the first answer is, especially now during the COVID-19 period, YouTube made a decision to automatically play videos in standard definition instead of high definition. And this is one way that we're hoping that we can help during this COVID-19 crisis be able to manage the network for everyone globally. So that's number one. Number two is if you really want to control the level of your bandwidth consumption, there is another app called YouTube Go, which you can download. So YouTube Go will actually enable you to choose. So small, medium, large, HD, and you can also download the video. So in relation to the question about being able to download, YouTube Go will allow you to really pick the right quality and bandwidth that will be consumed depending on your specific needs.
Okay, thank you. I hope our audience who have the same question were able to catch what Attorney Ives said. So another question that may go to either Attorney Ives or Donnie. Do you receive report or complaints about contents of child sexual abuse materials? And if you do, what are the steps to take it down or remove the content?
Yeah, so perhaps I can start. We actually work with law enforcement authorities in reporting cases of child sexual exploitation. I think one type of abuse is the content itself, which we will detect through our system and also through our human reviewer. But the other one is the grooming part of it, where people try to approach children through the platform. So in both cases, when we find out and also when we sweep proactively, we will remove such content or such profile, and we will report it to the authorities.
So for us, for YouTube, of course, we do receive reports every once in a while. So, but what I wanted to share with this group is that a big percentage of CSAM materials never see the light of day. So at the moment somebody tries to upload it, our technology, our machine learning technology, will automatically detect it and not allow it to be published. So this is something that we super take very seriously, and we're working with our other stakeholders in the tech industry. So we're working with companies which you might think are our competitors, but when it comes to CSAM, this is something that we all work together on, such that we're able to even share the unique hashes of CSAM, so that when CSAM material is uploaded on, let's say, one platform, the unique hash of that is shared within the industry so that it can be automatically removed or detected in other platforms as well. And then what YouTube does is to report uploaders of CSAM materials to the US NCMEC, so NCMEC in the US.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Ives. So this is, I think, there's a question that I think is a follow-up question also on treating the child sexual abuse materials that goes out to both of you. Like, can you make use of Microsoft's photo DNA or something similar filtering algorithm for possible CSAMs?
So yeah, so on our part, definitely we're using our own technology. And this is very similar in a sense that so each CSAM photo will have a unique identifier, right? So such that you don't necessarily need to see the whole photo anymore to say, oh, that's CSAM, but rather because the picture or the hash of the picture is already stored in the records, so you already are able to automatically take down all future uploads of that same photo. So we do have our own technology on that specific topic.
Yeah, just to add, I think we also use our own technology. As I mentioned earlier, the machine learning would would not allow, in the majority of cases, for such content to be uploaded at the first place, and would deter for the re-upload of the same or similar content. So yes, we do have our own technology for this.
Okay, thank you very much, Donnie and Attorney Ives. So in relation again to CSAM, there's another question, I think from the FB Live broadcast. Is there an external reporting link specific for CSAM on your platform?
Yes, so for YouTube, definitely we have a flag link, we have a flag button. So if you see any material on YouTube which you feel is inappropriate, whether it violates community guidelines of YouTube or if it violates the local laws, if you believe, every video will have a reporting link. And so you can just click on the report button. And so that will trigger a report which will, if the video reviewed is found to be in violation of either community guidelines or other laws, then it will be taken down.
Yeah, for us, you can also report all of the videos. And actually, when you report through our report button, you can actually choose under which category or what's the basis of your reporting. And this would really help us to expedite the process and to understand better how to treat this content. So we do encourage our users to, proactively, when you see something that you think is problematic, you can always report.
Okay, thank you very much. This one again is from, of course, Department of Education for Attorney Ives. So can you comment on content creators that are not in YouTube Kids who are popular among teens? For example, are creators like PewDiePie. I don't know if you're familiar. PewDiePie, Jake and Logan Paul, who sometimes use inappropriate language and materials in their videos. So what's your message to the parents of those teens who watch content creators like them?
Sure. So of course, this situation, of course, is very much dependent on having a good relationship with your child, right? So we believe that we really encourage that parents really have a good discussion and a healthy discussion with their child on values. So for example, if you talk to your child and you say, you should, one thing we really value is honesty and treating other people right. So for example, and you give good examples of those values, then the child will be able to learn or to be able to discern whether a creator is someone that is aligned with their family values, right? So if, for example, the child feels that this creator is always doing nasty pranks or really bad pranks, and then that's incompatible with the values that the child has learned from the parents, then the child will naturally not watch the videos or choose creators that are more aligned with your family values. So again, this is something that is very important to be nurtured at the family level, because only having an open conversation with your child on, let's say, don't just say that this creator is bad, but without explaining why the creator is bad, or this video is not good for you, but actually have a conversation to explain, to talk about the intricacies of the video, and you'll be surprised that children do understand, as long as you have a good conversation, as long as you talk to them, and you kind of, in a sense, treat them in a way that in a respectful way, then the child will also learn, okay, I learned that what we value is really honesty and integrity, and there are some creators that are aligned with that and some creators that are not. So I think that's overall, that's still the best way to avoid getting in the situation wherein your child is watching videos that you don't like your child to watch.
Okay, thank you. I've noticed we had several questions already, but I just want to check to you both if you're still okay to answer a few more, because we still have time.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, then we have another question from Melvin Nunez. So this one goes out to Donnie. TikTok allows users to contact anyone in the world, and this comes with its own host of hazards. Like any social media platform that has a direct message or commenting feature, that's always the possibility that your child could be chatting with anyone, including strangers. How does TikTok passively react to online predators, probably, and other hazards? And I guess it's the same question also that came from Israel, Deloy, Kuya Israel. So users can send private messages to each other. So how do you ensure that grooming doesn't happen in your platform via private messages?
So for us, to begin with, we don't allow people under the age of 13 to be TikTok user. And for everyone under 16, we don't actually allow private messaging. We have disabled private messaging capability for under 16. And for everyone else, they can still send private messages, but we only allow text. We don't allow sending of pictures or videos through private messages. If they insist to send something like that, they must use other platform. So this is what we do to try to protect our users in terms of our messaging features. Now, more generally, to prevent the grooming of children through the platform, we work together with law enforcers, where we share databases and information, and also we use signals. So whenever we see there are certain cues that someone is trying to groom someone or have certain bad intention, we will act upon it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, for Attorney Ives, actually, this is more of a question whether it would be possible for DepEd and YouTube Kids to work out a partnership so that access would be free without using data, as already done in DepEd Commons.
So that is an ongoing conversation right now. As you can imagine, of course, for us, we understand and appreciate the situation that we're all in right now, wherein we're all at home and we're all using our Wi-Fi or our mobile internet. And so it's an ongoing conversation, definitely. It's something that we can push for. And definitely Google wants to help on the education space. We have G Suite for Education, we have Google Classroom. And so it's an ongoing conversation right now with DepEd and also with the telcos on how we can really help democratize these tools for as wide number of our population. So definitely we're supportive.
Okay, thank you. So you heard that. It's already in progress. So yeah, we'll also be excited to know what happened to the partnership later. Okay, I think since I'm checking the time, we can still accommodate 3 more questions. So from Rio Escalada, the question applies to both YouTube and TikTok. Do you think users should upload valid IDs before signing up, just to ensure that users are legally allowed to use these applications? Who wants to go first? Yeah.
Can you repeat again what should be allowed?
Yeah. The question is if you think users should upload a valid ID, valid identification card, for you to be sure that they are legally allowed to use the applications.
Yeah, we're not requiring that at the moment, but we're exploring different ways on how we can, better identify our users. There are, separate issues with uploading IDs, right? I think some people might object to that. So I think at this point, what we are doing when we are signing up users is we allow them to self-report their personal particulars. But we are exploring different ways on how we can even better improve this.
So on our side, we don't think that is the right solution for the problem that we want to solve. Number one, to actually determine what is a valid ID and what is not a valid ID is something that our systems are not set up to do. That's number one. Number two, of course, is the challenge on data privacy, right? So we don't want to collect your information that we don't have to, or that we don't need. So that's not the best solution. So we believe that the best solution is really, again, for parents to have a good relationship with their child and to guide the child on the right apps that the child should use, and so not to request or require a valid ID.
Okay, thank you. Second to the last question. This one is from Christine Simagala. How do we know that a certain user is allowed to use the app, either the consent of the creator, since a lot of predators can access or hack applications? I don't know if it makes, I mean, if it's clear to you, like, let me try to rephrase it. So how do we know that a certain user is allowed to use the app? Either there's a consent, no, from the creator, since there are predators who may access or hack the applications. So meaning if the creator posted something, so how sure that the predators or hackers won't be able to do so?
Yeah. So I think if I understand correctly, the concern is, is more on the consent, right? So when you sign up on a particular app, including TikTok, there's a user agreement and terms of service that you actually have to agree upon. Now, these documents actually detailed on your rights, on what you agreed to share through the app and what's not. So once you click agree, you're basically agreeing to these provisions. Now, on the content itself, once you're already on the TikTok app, and you can actually set your privacy settings, who can actually see your content, who could whether your videos can be downloaded or not. But ultimately, the content within your account that you uploaded, it's your own. It's the rights lies with you, and you can set who can access them, and also who can view them. So that's the way you can have control over your content.
Thank you very much. This next question is actually from an anonymous sender, and I think this goes out to Attorney Ives. It seems the setup of the YouTube Kid is ideal if you have responsible parents. Unfortunately, not all parents are like you, as mentioned by the person who gave the question. Unfortunately, not all parents are like Attorney Ives. How do we ensure children are still protected when no adult supervises what should supervises, and then what should be blocked? Sorry about that.
So I guess the answer, I guess, would I'm imagining that the child would always still have someone around, right? Whether it's, as Filipinos, whether if you don't have a parent, you have your titas, your titos, your ates, your kuyas, even your neighbor, your kapitbahay sometimes is contributes to the child's development. And so that's the one really good thing about us Filipinos is we all try to work together even in raising a child. And so if a child has no parent, normally, naturally, somebody steps up, right? So I think that's the one thing that we can rely on, that the people around the child will try to step in and to step up to try to nurture the child. And so that's the one solution that I can think of.
Okay, thank you very much. This one is a question again for YouTube and for Attorney Ives and for Donnie. So how does TikTok and YouTube can help the educational system facing the new normal? Are there any plans, or are there any anything in progress?
Yeah, from our side, I think following the the natural evolution of the learning process and also product development, more and more people, including educators, will use video sharing technology to deliver their messages, and we've seen that this is used within the new normal during this COVID-19 situation, right? For us, as I shared before, increasingly we are focusing on educational content to supplement the formal education process. And within this month and the next few months, we are going to launch several different initiatives where we hope to do more to promote this kind of content. So please stay tuned.
So on YouTube side, on YouTube side, definitely we've seen an increase in people consuming educational content on YouTube. And so even like not just in the consumption, but actually in the creation as well. For example, there is this math teacher in the Philippines who went from 0 to 100,000 subscribers in a span of a couple of days. And this is just, you can see how people are really going to YouTube to try to learn. So that's one thing that we are super supportive of having videos wherein people can learn using YouTube as a platform. And so that's why on YouTube, if you go to YouTube's homepage, you can actually see that we've created an area, a shelf where you could look at learning content. And so this is just some of the examples, but definitely YouTube as a platform is working hard to try to address the current crisis that we're facing, because we believe that videos on YouTube, educational videos on YouTube, is definitely one way that we can help during this crisis.
Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, we still have a lot of questions, but I think we will cut from here. We will stop from here, but we want to hear from our guest speakers some closing messages to the parents, especially now that our audience are parents, adults, teachers, caregivers, maybe some are protection and development workers. So, and as we all know, sometimes parents don't understand the kids and the young people's behavior online. So what will be your message to those who are listening right now, to our audience, on how they can talk or converse to their children, especially now that the COVID-19 pandemic has been a stressful situation for everyone?
Yeah, I think we all realize that we cannot do this alone, right? So from the platform side, we do what we can in terms of providing features and products that will protect users, also through our policies and our educational initiatives. But we do implore on on parents and educators to also make this as their commitment, right? Try to understand how your children are using tech platforms. What are the content that they're consuming? What are the ways to protect them? Because the tools are out there, and we can only do this together if you are involved. So that's basically my message. Let's all chip in our part in ensuring a health and a safe internet environment.
Thank you, Donnie. Attorney Inns?
Sure. So on the part of Google, YouTube, so one of the things we believe is that while technology will help, especially in this crisis that we're facing, so we're doing our best to try to help using the platforms, using the technology. But at the end of the day, when it comes to raising a child, as a parent, I know that it's all about really the relationship you have with the child. So if you have a relationship wherein you're open and honest with each other, if you have a relationship where you treat each other respectfully and not just I'm your father, do what I say, but rather explain why why you set rules and the reason behind those rules. That's the most important one. So the technology will help, but the relationship between the parent and the child and how you communicate with each other, that's the most important thing, really. And that's really now, especially now we're all at home. It's a great opportunity to really get to know your child and for your child to also get to know you, right? So use this time to get to know your child, to grow the relationship as a family. And then, so hopefully, yeah, once you have that good foundation, the technology just becomes a tool to enable you as a family to achieve more, to learn more, to explore more. But hopefully it's something that you do as a family together. So that's our message.
Thank you so much, Attorney Ives and Donnie, for spending your precious time, for your very valuable messages to our audience, and for sharing useful information to everyone for today's webinar. Thank you again for accommodating our request. And at least we had a very interactive session as what I'm seeing on the comments in our Zoom group chat. So thank you again to the both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah. And for our respective audience, again, yung mga dapat lang nating tandaan, maganda today na pag-usapan natin na may mga safety features or mga platform for kids that we only have to understand, to know, and to also educate our children. And i-quote ko yung sinabi ni Donnie. I will quote what Donnie said. We can do this together if you are also involved. No? That's very important. And for Attorney Ives, I can also quote what he said, that the tech will help, but it's the relationship of the parents to the children which is more important. No? That is very true. And to end this, for everyone, we have to use this time. Tama. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we have all the time siguro for us to also take a look at all the social media platforms, know what our children are using, what platforms they are using, be vigilant. We have to be having conversation with our children. So before we officially end, just let me share with you again the reporting mechanisms that we already shared earlier. Kindly see the screen. We will also be sharing it on our FB and Twitter accounts. We hope you learned a lot from this episode of the series of webinar. And in case you have free time, please join us again next Tuesday with an episode entitled Into the Unknown, Exploring Safe Search Settings with Microsoft and Google. Of course, we're going to have Attorney Ives again. And again, we are requesting you to help us improve the next webinars. We would like to hear from you. Kindly see the link where you may complete the evaluation, as you can see on the bottom part of the slide. So there will also be an option should you wish to have a certificate of attendance or certificate of participation. So again, please join us on May 19, Tuesday, same time and same channels, FB Live and Zoom. We are looking forward to see you all again. Have a good day. Thank you to our guest speakers. Thank you everyone for listening, and stay safe. Have a good afternoon.